What's good, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today I want to discuss why I believe Jaelan Phillips could win an NFL Defensive Player of the Year, and maybe, just maybe, as soon as this year. Now, I wanted to start breaking down the entirety of the Miami Dolphins defense, but I wasn't completely sure how to divide up the position groups. What I do know though is that I wanted to spend a lot of time on Jaelan Phillips just because of how intriguing of a player he is. Before we get into his record-setting rookie season, I think it's important that we dive into how he fared during his collegiate career. After impressing in high school, where he was ranked a 5-star recruit by ESPN and was ranked nationally as the number 3 ranked player in the entire nation, he decided to commit to UCLA over 20 plus other offers. As a true freshman in 2017, Jaelan Phillips played in 7 games and had 21 tackles, 7 of them being for loss, 2 pass deflections, and 3.5 sacks. Along with 3 reported concussions, Phillips had gotten into a moped accident where he badly injured his wrist. He medically retired from football in 2018, where he played just 4 games in his sophomore season, in which he suffered injuries to both of his ankles. In 2019, he transferred to Miami University, but he had to sit out the entire year due to the NCAA transfer rules. In 2020, he showed out. He registered 45 tackles, 15.5 of them being for loss, and put up 8 sacks, along with an interception, being selected to the AFCA All-America First Team, the Associated Press and FCAA All-America Second Team, the All-ACC Second Team, and was a finalist for the Chuck Bednarik Award, which is given to the best defensive collegiate player. He then chose to forego his remaining college eligibility and entered the 2021 NFL Draft. While he was in college, he went through a lot of injuries and setbacks, which must have been a nightmare to deal with, especially considering the pandemic that was hanging over everyone's head.
Man, all I can say about that is perseverance, man. There was good days, there was bad days, but at the end of the day, man, I kept my faith. I stayed humble and I worked hard, and I had great people around me to support me and carry me through this process. So it's been surreal. I mean, these last 2 years of my life, like, so much has changed, and I'm just so blessed to be in this position that I am right now, and so thankful for everybody who's helped me along the way.
He stuck with it though and went into the draft process touted as a late first, early second round pick, and that was mostly due to his injury concerns, or else he would be touted as an early first-round pick. Jaelan Phillips is a 6'5", 260-pound edge rusher who thrives due to his motor and his rare combination of size and athleticism. He showed off the athleticism during the draft process, where he received a 9.87 out of 10 relative athletic score, which is a metric created by Kent Lee Platt at MathBomb on Twitter, which measures a prospect's athleticism by comparing results from the NFL Combine or Pro Day in relation to a prospect's size and historical results from players playing the same position. Simply put, it measures a player's athleticism in relation to their size. The only concern that I really saw with him as a pass rusher coming out of the 2021 draft was his health. The only other thing you could say is refinement as a pass rusher on his technique, but I feel like you could say that for any pass rusher coming out of the draft, unless it's literally a Myles Garrett or something like that. He's a flexible rusher who is great at accelerating into the edge and is good at manipulating his body when going into the interior gaps of an offensive line. His motor and closing burst to the quarterback isn't questionable, and I've never seen him take a snap off. He's a solid tackler, and his run defending awareness shows when recognizing the lane choice by an opposing running back. His tremendous length is a huge bonus to what he does and helps him in virtually every other area, other than if he lets that length affect his pad level, which usually isn't the case anyways. It helps him wrap up quarterbacks or ball carriers, and that size combined with his elite speed makes him a problem coming off the edge. Not to mention, even though his speed is what a lot of people talk about, he has excellent power, which makes him tough to stop as an opposing tackle. While he lacks truly elite explosiveness, at least right now, he makes up for it with his truly elite speed when tracking in space. The best part is that he's versatile as a defender. He can play as a 4-3 defensive end or as a 3-4 outside linebacker, which is a huge plus as he's schemeless, which is so valuable in the entire NFL and more specifically the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, I mean, I feel comfortable really doing anything. You know, I've played in a 3-4 outside linebacker system. I played in a 4-3 hand in the dirt system. So, I really feel like I can do it all, and really whatever's required of me and whatever coach wants me to do, man, I'll be able to do. So I'm just excited to learn the system and come in and really just take my game to that next level.
If you want my opinion on the player from that time during the draft process, if it wasn't for health, he would clearly be my #1 edge in the entire class. Which is why I was truly ecstatic when we landed him with the 18th overall pick in the 2021 NFL Draft.
With the 18th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Miami Dolphins select Jaelan Phillips, defensive end, Miami.
Like I said before, Jaelan Phillips had a record-setting rookie season where he broke the Miami Dolphins team record for sacks as a rookie. He put up 42 combined tackles, with 9 of them being at a loss, with 16 QB hits, and broke the team rookie record with 8.5 sacks, which was 1 sack away from leading the entire team if it wasn't for Emmanuel Ogbah, who had 9 on the season. So he was 1 sack away from leading the entire team, a team which, by the way, was top 6 in sacks for the entire NFL. To truly demonstrate why he can be an elite pass rusher in the NFL, I want to show how he can build off a season where he showed the blueprint to do exactly that, to become someone who is a real problem for opposing offenses. And to do so, I can't just show you one play, as that would be a disservice to me, you, and Jaelan Phillips. As the reason he has the ability to become a Defensive Player of the Year candidate is because of all the different ways he can rush the passer, along with all the other things he does overall as a defender on the field. Let's start with his speed rushing ability. A few of his sacks came from him just using his explosiveness off of the line to get around an opposing offensive lineman and get to the quarterback for a sack. Take this play for example, going up against a pulling guard in Will Hernandez and a running back in Devontae Booker trying to come help block Jaelan Phillips, who uses a simple stutter step hesitation to get past both blockers for an easy sack, where he shows closing speed to get to the quarterback as he accelerates into the tackle for a major loss, giving Mike Glennon no time to react to even make the decision to try and throw the ball away. It's actually a move he's used multiple times. Here he uses it against left tackle George Fant. He knows that he's going to be on an island and understands that he's just more explosive and faster than the blocker. Thus he uses a sidestep to get around the tackle, planting his right foot in the ground to shift Fant to the outside, then almost euro stepping back into the inside, where he knows he has leverage to use his right hand to push off the opposing player and get a hit on the quarterback. The second that Fant moves to the outside where he's not parallel with Phillips, it's just lunge for number 15. His speed isn't only utilized on the edge. The Miami Dolphins use Phillips in the A and B gap to use his speed to their advantage. Here he's lined up on the inside shoulder of Alejandro Villanueva in the B gap, where he explodes off the line, beating the tackle with pure speed to the inside, forcing Villanueva to hold him. But he uses his motor that we talked about to close out on Lamar Jackson and finish off the sack. Not to mention the Dolphins also dialed up scheme blitzes for the sole purpose of using that speed and acceleration. On this play they have Phillips lining up as a 3-tech on the outside shoulder of the guard Elijah Vera Tucker, where he delays and feints a blitz while Adam Butler blocks out the center and left guard to let Jaelan Phillips run around the 3 interior offensive linemen, speeding past the right guard who is still engaged with Butler, gets held in the process, and finishes off the play for another sack. His speed, more specifically his closing speed and second effort, is awesome to watch. Here he is initially going up against former number 1 overall pick Eric Fisher, then being doubled by the left guard as well, and watch him burst to the outside of both of them and then accelerate to close out the play and wrap up Carson Wentz before he has the opportunity to let the ball loose. The quickness he has is preposterous. I'm in awe every time I see a guy that big and lengthy move as fast as he does. Speed is not the only thing Phillips has in his pass rushing bag though. He has power in his game as well. In the same game against the Colts, watch him use that power to bull rush Eric Fisher and simply overpower him into his own quarterback. He gets low initially to generate power from his lower half, and then shoots forward with his hands right in the chest of Eric Fisher, and instead of trying to go around him with his speed, he just goes right through him to generate a hit on the quarterback through the opposing tackle. It's truly ridiculous to see him move a guy in Eric Fisher, who is 6'7" and weighs 312 pounds. But that's not all he does either. He has also shown flashes of using pass rush techniques to help him beat his blocker. Here he is going up against right tackle Charlie Heck, where he tries to power through the tackle and gets stopped up. So as he gets pushed to the outside, which gives him leverage, he has a move called the club and rip. It's more just the rip, but as he gets to the outside, he clubs with his left hand and rips with his right hand, giving him enough separation with him and the tackle to use the acceleration of his to converge on Tyrod Taylor and gets credited with the sack. He did all of that while also being stout in the run game, like this play here, which shows off Jaelan Phillips' ability to set the edge and how he's a very secure tackler in the run game. The Jets lineup are in a single back running 12 men personnel with 2 tight ends on the left, one of them as the H-back, with 2 wide receivers on the right and Michael Carter, the 1 running back, in the backfield. The Dolphins are in a 5-2 formation with Raekwon Davis as the nose tackle, Christian Wilkins and Zach Sealer as the defensive tackles, with Andrew Van Ginkel and Jaelan Phillips operating as the defensive ends or edge rushers, with Jerome Baker and Elandon Roberts as the 2 linebackers. So the Jets try to run the ball with their H-back and left guard pulling to try and create a lane for Michael Carter to run through. Christian Wilkins busts through the left guard and forces Michael Carter to try and bounce a run to the outside. But there's Jaelan Phillips, who does a remarkable job of setting the edge, giving Michael Carter nowhere to go and finishing off the play with a nice tackle, wrapping up the running back and forcing him to the ground. This is not the only thing he can do when not rushing the passer. He's also incredible when defending in space, even against the game's best and most elusive runners. This play is one that gets me so excited about Jaelan Phillips because it shows off how athletically talented of a player he really is. The Ravens are lined up in shotgun running 11 personnel, with 1 running back in the backfield, 1 tight end in the H-back position, in this case is an extra offensive lineman, as the Dolphins had all-out blitz almost every play this game, and this was the Ravens' attempt at countering, with 3 receivers out wide, and Mark Andrews acting as the X receiver out on top of the screen. The Dolphins are lined up in an all-out blitz formation where you don't know how many or which players are blitzing and which ones are dropping back into coverage. That's all that's important for this play, but if you want to learn more about how the Dolphins neutralize Lamar Jackson and the Ravens using this style of defense on almost every play, Please check out Brett Coleman's video where he does a truly incredible job of analyzing it. Anyways, the ball is snapped and Lamar Jackson drops back to pass, scanning for a receiver open down the field. Once he sees that there isn't anyone to go to, he does Lamar Jackson thing to do and tries to scramble his way for some positive yardage, trying to spring to the outside for a potential large gain on the boundary, but is stopped by a darting Jaelan Phillips who pushes him out of bounds. If we take it back to analyze the defense, the Dolphins try to confuse the Baltimore Ravens offensive line by blitzing their linebackers and dropping back their usual rushers in Emmanuel Ogbah, defensive tackle Adam Butler, and Jaelan Phillips. Phillips, who dropped as far back as the 40-yard line on the left hash when Lamar Jackson was on the 50-yard line approaching the right hash, still catches up to him and makes the stop for a minimal gain. Emmanuel Ogbah, who was on the outside of the right hash, who was way closer to Lamar Jackson, gets beat clean to the outside. And if it wasn't for Jaelan Phillips tracking down one of the most elusive quarterbacks in the entire NFL, and maybe the entire history of the NFL, with ground to make up, it could have been a much worse outcome. The other thing that impressed me was his effort. We talked about his motor when we went into the scouting report during the draft process, and it translated. On every single snap, you never see him give up on a play. Just to give an example to show how real his motor is, I want to show you a play which really encapsulates his effort on a down-to-down basis. Now obviously, I can't show every play that he's playing in to show that he's playing hard every play, but this play should serve as an illustration of how hard Jaelan Phillips really works. As you can see, the Raiders are in shotgun running 11-man personnel, with 3 receivers where Darren Waller is playing as a receiver in this instance, 1 tight end, which is Foster Moreau in the H-back position on the left side of the offensive line, and 1 running back. For the Dolphins defense, it doesn't really matter for this play, but all you need to know is that Jaelan Phillips is playing as an edge defender, which means he's either setting the edge if it's a run, or putting his ears back and rushing the quarterback if it's a pass. On this play, Derek Carr snaps the ball, drops back, and hits a pass to Bryan Edwards on a delayed short crossing route. At this point in time, Jaelan Phillips is stopped by the Raiders left tackle Colin Miller and should be out of the play. What happens here is that Justin Coleman, the cornerback covering Edwards, can't make the tackle, and Edwards breaks up the field weaving through Eric Rowe and speeding past Christian Wilkins, who by the way is also exhibiting great effort on this play, but he also can't make the tackle, until sprinting Jaelan Phillips makes the tackle from seemingly out of nowhere. If we bring back the play, you can see how Jaelan Phillips is stopped and should be out of the play, but he keeps his eyes on the play, and as soon as he realizes that the tackle isn't made by the primary defender, he hauls his ass over 25 yards to make up ground on the weaving receiver and make the tackle. Obviously, it's not a great play for him as an edge rusher, but it shows his willingness to bust his ass, which is what you need to become an elite player in the NFL, which is the same thing that happens with this play, going up against the 4th overall pick in 2020 in Andrew Thomas, who quietly became one of, if not the best player on the Giants, if it wasn't for a guy like Xavier McKinney, where Jaelan Phillips gets stopped initially, but as the play develops, he uses his second effort and motor to get the sack and bring down Mike Glennon. Again, this is not a play that shows off a true pass rush win, but just a player having the will to have his second effort and complete the sack for a big loss. He did all of this while only starting 5 games and only playing 54% of defensive snaps. After a year of working his way to get more snaps, and just general NFL experience, both of those numbers should go up in his sophomore season.
I guess what have you done during the offseason or maybe attempted to do to kind of make sure you're an every down player in year 2?
I think for me, it's just a mindset thing. I think I'm just kind of taking pride in the fact that it's almost like that chip on my shoulder, that just watch me thing. It's like, you know, people said I couldn't play early downs. Like, all right, just watch me. So it's just a mentality, having that dog mentality, having that fight to where every single snap, you know, it's me against him, and, you know, who's going to win? It's damn sure not going to be him. And so for me, not being able to come in every single down and help the team, like that's something where, you know, I took it on myself where I'm going to work on this. And so, you know, the sacks were nice, but ultimately it's more than just sacks. It's more than just production. It's about, you know, how you fit in the defense and what are you doing to contribute to the team as a whole. And so, yeah, just constantly trying to better myself and improve the things that I need to improve on.
The NFL experience is very important because the Miami Dolphins run a defense that bases out of nickel and blitzes a lot. It's a defensive scheme that most NFL teams don't run, so it probably has a larger learning curve, at least more than standard playbooks. Not to mention that for Jaelan Phillips and the position that he plays as an edge rusher, that probably has an even bigger learning curve because that's so integral to this defense. So with Phillips being a rookie, it couldn't have been an easy transition, which is probably why he didn't get as big of a snapshot as we would have thought. So with Jaelan Phillips having an entire year to learn the Dolphins playbook, only bigger and better things are to come in his sophomore year. Another reasons those numbers could and should go up is that on a couple of occasions, for a player who does have a knack for completing sacks, he did whiff on a couple, so I feel like that's only more reason for the numbers to go up. He did the hard work to win at the line of scrimmage and get to the quarterback, but for whatever reason, he just couldn't bring them down. A player whose best trait in college might just be his ability to be relentless in getting to a quarterback should be able to fix an issue as bizarre as that, especially for him. So to recap, in a year where a lot of people didn't think he was as good as he should have been, he broke the team rookie sack record, He almost led the team in sacks, all the while being very solid in the run game and making quality stops like that one against Lamar Jackson using his pure athleticism. So on that note, before we do end the video, I do have a hot take to end this video. It's not even that hot after doing all this because obviously the hot take is in the title of the Defensive Player of the Year, but I actually do think that he will hit 12.5 sacks this year, which could put him in position to be up for that award. It's this foundation of him being a complete player that can be elite in every area of the game that gives me so much confidence that he has the potential to do it all as an outside linebacker in the NFL, which is exactly why, in my opinion, he does have the opportunity to win a Defensive Player of the Year award in the very near future. So with that being said, thanks for watching. See you next time.